Hello, I'm your host, Talking Face, and this could be news. I would like to thank everybody for joining us and welcome to this new year. We're just a few days in and already the news is making mistakes. So let's get to it. With this new year and new decade, I want to go in stressing and trying to convince the people of my generation and younger to do their own research. Don't just go off of what you see in one or two news articles that pop up on social media like Facebook and Instagram. Just days into this new year and we already have a couple of stories that is really kind of getting to me, so let's get to it. Like always, I'm going to try to keep this video under 10 minutes, so bear with me, people. The first article that caught my attention was on the church shooting in Texas, where a gunman came in with a shotgun and killed two people when 7 of the churchgoers drew their weapons and 2 fired, killing the gunman. When I saw this story, I had 2 reactions. One is that I was upset that a man came into a church with malicious intent and murdered 2 civilians. And also, I was relieved that there were other churchgoers that were armed and was able to stop this man from doing more harm. But USA Today and other liberal media sources feel that this is the time to talk about getting rid of guns. USA Today reports, armed, even in church, Texas shooting is about a lot more than Jack Wilson's heroism. Jack Wilson is a hero, but why were so many other parishioners armed? And how did the shooter get his gun, given his criminal history? These people are actually upset that other people had firearms on them. I mean, can you believe it? A maniac goes into a church to cause a mass shooting, but it is stopped because law-abiding citizens carry their weapons. The travesty. Mind you, these are the same people who say that abortion is a constitutional right, which is not in the Constitution, but the right to bear arms is terrible, which is actually a constitutional right. I just don't understand. And then they question whether or not that Jack Wilson is a hero. No, that man is a hero. But those are members of the news media who are safely behind their desk or behind the laptops or pen and pad that they use to report secondhand on the news. But what does the police chief say of White Settlement, who was on the scene? Police Chief J.P. Bevering told reporters, the gunman entered the church and sat down with the congregants. He then got up, pulled out a shotgun, and shot 2 church members who died at a nearby hospital. 2 armed church members who were volunteer security guards returned fire and killed the gunman. The suspect was stopped thanks to the quick and heroic actions of those safety members inside the church. Heroic. The police chief on the scene called those men heroes, but I'm not going to listen to him. I'm going to listen to news anchors. Nah, I take a hard pass on that. I would like to thank Jack Wilson and others who stopped that crazed maniac from murdering more people than he did. The second news story that kind of got under my skin was this one on Soleimani. Now, Soleimani was a very important figure in the Middle East to certain organizations. Now, if you don't know, Soleimani was a terrorist. You probably don't know this because the news media is pushing this narrative that he was a good guy. Kind of sort of the same way they did Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. You remember? New York Times called him a austere religious scholar. But in all actuality, Baghdadi was the second in command of the terrorist group ISIS. Yeah, ISIS. That ISIS. The news, they just reported that U.S. airstrikes kills top Iran general Qasem Soleimani. It's kind of sad that they just leave it at general. Soleimani was responsible for at least 17% of the American deaths in Iran. He was a monster. Soleimani was more than a top Iranian general like the news wants to report. And the airstrike that was called against him was in retaliation to the siege of the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Trump just didn't decide to do this on a whim. There was a reason for it. And also because he was planning an attack on American citizens. This is not a new issue that we had with Iran. Now, we've been going back and forth with them for a while, letting a couple things slide. I'm just upset primarily with the news media saying that this is the worst thing that has happened and everybody is upset and everybody is scared. First of all, we shouldn't be scared of a war because the only way that America goes to war is if the American citizens back that war. Examples like Vietnam and the war in Iraq. The American citizens were behind it because of things like Pearl Harbor and the September 11th attack on the Twin Towers. But America is not backing a war with Iran. And also, the people in Iran aren't really that mad about what happened to Soleimani. They're kind of relieved. I mean, depending on the sources that you look at. For the news and people in politics on the Democratic side acting as if this is some new thing for a president to call an airstrike is dishonest. Because they did not say a word when Barack Obama spent most of his time calling for airstrikes. I know he pulled a lot of troops, but while he was pulling troops, he was bombing a lot of people. I just don't like that people think that this is the beginning of World War III. Y'all need to find something else better to do. But these were just a couple of stories that kind of got to me. I was trying to spend my holidays just kicking back, relaxing, not trying to pay attention to anything going on in the news. But while I was on Facebook and things, I just saw so many people saying that if you support Trump and for him doing this thing in Iran, y'all need to be the first ones to go to war. I'm like, y'all weren't saying none of this stuff when Obama was bombing Syria or anything like that. Y'all was cool. But for the new year and the new decade, I just want my generation and younger, don't believe everything that y'all see in news articles or on your timeline. I want y'all to go out and do the research yourselves. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. If you can, hit like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content.
Thank you for staying to the end of the video. If you can, please like, share, subscribe to our page, For Your Family Studios with an S, and also tell your friends about us. And if you have the time, please go to our Facebook and Instagram pages as well. Same name, For Your Family Studios.